Saint Francis of Assisi, who walked the Camino in the year 1214, may perhaps be the most influential among the spiritual and religious pilgrims in the Camino. The Franciscan spirituality is unique in its simplicity, but may have been best suited in walking the Camino. Having walked 7 different routes, we were looking for a different Camino to walk this year. One that would satisfy our sense of curiosity and discovery. Come, join us as we discover the spiritual tenets of the Camino according to the spirituality of the Franciscans. We will start our Camino in Coimbra in Portugal following the coastal route, and we will take a spiritual variant upon reaching Spain. Are we gonna make it to Santiago? What will be the struggles and difficulties that we will face this time?
Amen.
Prayer of the Pilgrims.
Prayer of the Pilgrim Apostle James, chosen among the first. You were the first to drink the cup of the Lord, and you are the great protector of the pilgrims. Make us strong in faith and joyful in hope, in our walk of pilgrims following the path of the Christian life. Encourage us to finally reach the glory of God the Father. Amen.
So we're leaving Porto today.
Senor, can you take a picture? Please, picture.
Please. Thank you.
Only when you smiley.
Smiley.
Ayun, isa dito.
No, it's here, mommy. Huh? No, it's this way, mommy. That's going to coastal. That's coastal, mommy.
Okay, there's coche.
Yeah, that is not coastal. A lot of times people would picture Porto with an iconic colorful houses and Dom Luis Bridge in the background. That neighborhood is technically the lively and emblematic district of Ribera. It is where the party is happening in Porto. Yet, it is also the perfect spot to walk and run beside the Douro River. Go left, mommy. Mommy, left.
Obrigado.
Bom dia. So it's the same way if you went that way.
Will you bring that accommodation?
Ah.
Is it free? Is it free na accommodation?
Well,
Kasi nakita ko itong free sa Trello.
free breakfast.
Oh, free breakfast.
Yeah. Well, technically, it's not free. It's included in your.
I saw the review. This is the priciest one for 1, 2, 3.
Another church. Babes, on your left. It's so cool. Hey! That's the fisherman's village. Right there. That's the Atlantic Ocean. If you swim there, You get to New York. Go underneath. Go underneath. Yeah. Unless you want to go inside and. That is beautiful. Part the Red Sea. I don't know what that statue is. It's a tourism office in Matosinhos or something like that. It's cool. See that place? There's a big cruise ship. Look at this. It's beautiful. So check this out. This place here is where the image of Jesus has reached the shore in May 3rd of the year 124. That's 2000, almost 2000 years old. That's crazy. Whoa. Where's the image of Jesus?
Where was it, Neon Alice, I bet?
I don't know.
In main area. In Massachusetts.
You guys gonna be here for 2 days, man. Look at that. It's very beautiful. So this get a step here. It's really beautiful. So ambience was included in our coffee. The word detachment sounds cold, even indifferent. There are a few moments in today's walk that it was kind of cold and wet, but when I look back to this day, these two seemingly negative elements of nature actually helped us get closer to God. We were detached from the comforts of life, yet our minds were closer to God in prayer. The times when we were enjoying the beautiful boardwalk of Porto, we tend to forget about God for a moment, because we see and enjoy the sights. In the Camino, God is calling us to let go of our attachments and be detached from this world. It was drizzling when we left Porto but died along the way. We then played a little bit of basketball in one of the parks. Eileen also noticed a crying baby covered with plastic in a stroller. Vehemently told to get rid of the plastic to give the baby enough air, the parents refused. Today, we had our first pilgrim menu. We also crossed a drawbridge. We also met a bunch of Spanish pilgrims from Pontevedra. At the hostel we were staying, we met a couple pilgrim from Texas. The wife is originally from Davao and one of us is from Davao, so it was some sort of a reunion. We were joined by 4 French lady pilgrims. Accommodation had only 1 shower for 10 pilgrims. Drown. Oh, squall. Out of nowhere, a freak squall, which is combination of very strong whirlwind and rain, hit us. It was so strong that we had to hold on to the rope on the boardwalk and tie our arms around it so we don't get blown out of the sky. It was over in like 2 minutes, but for us it was the scariest 2 minutes of our lives. Our whole body was wet and full of sand afterwards that we had to change clothes. The train station. I thought the train station was somewhere here. Paddle boarding. Look at that. So that monument over there, kita nyo? Yan. That's the monument of the Knights Templar, which is 12th century. Behind those trees. Nakita mo? And this is the monastery of Santa Clara, yung 12th century na monastery. Yeah, so there's an aqueduct that runs through it para mag-ano sa, because inside they're supposed to be self-sustaining. And this is where we stayed. I can't recall kung saan. But Alfonso Sanchez, who is the illegitimate child of King Denis, founded the monastery of Santa Clara here in Villa de Conde. It is in response to the monastery of Santa Clara in Coimbra, founded by Saint Elizabeth of Portugal, the wife of King Denis. It was then handed over to the Franciscan order. But the city bloomed in 1503 when King Manuel I went for a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela and made Villa de Conde as one of his stops. Infrastructures were hurriedly built to accommodate the king. Later, the city took an important role in the age of discovery of Portugal, in which Vasco da Gama led expeditions to India. Ikaw, nauna na mo, tuanay. Paspasa. That's funny. That is beautiful. Look at that. It's just cold. Looks like milk. Doesn't matter. They're here. Oh, man. Discovering solitude as another tenet of the Camino was quite obvious. Although we're walking as a group, most of the time, we are in solitude. Solitude is perhaps the best gift to Camino. Being alone with God in our hearts and minds is what makes the Camino a real pilgrimage. We lifted our hearts in prayer, and being alone with God makes that possible because the fruit of silence is prayer. So this is the traditional stop for the Camino from Labruge. So we're just gonna go over, I think, a mile or something. It's because we can't find anything here. We had a good breakfast with hard-boiled egg in a hostel in Labruge. I believe Gronzi was wrong this time in our route, because we just found out today that we are walking 22 miles instead of 16. We then had a freak squall or storm with very strong winds on the beach before Villa de Conde. Eileen decided to outrun the wind, but luckily she was not harmed. But everyone had sand and water in them, so we had to change clothes. The day was kind of sunny but very long. Against the backdrop of unbelievable beauty, yet seemingly getting angrier and angrier as the day goes by, of the Portuguese coast, the fatigue and hunger sets in. Our legs are numb, but tempers fly, like the albatross that we see flying over us. Eventually, it simmered down as we met a Texan couple, Rita and Dennis, and we got to a hostel around 6 p.m.-ish. Around that time, it was already dark, and there was only one restaurant that was open in the whole town, and they did not have a proper food for dinner. It's one of those days, I guess. But today, my stance of not booking ahead of time seems to be justified. Yeah, bridge.
One way. Nakasuta dito.
Yeah.
Nawa, naka-cross. Bed, listen.
Okay. Not. Not too bad. It's not that high, so I'm okay. Thank you, Lord. This is the largest arrow I've ever seen. We've done 8 caminos. I did. Esposendi. Looking at this town, it's quite obvious that the town exudes a slower pace of life. It's a beach town and it's all about the water. Being in Portugal, the waves for surfing here is good enough for adrenaline rush. But as nature lovers, what we are excited about is we heard that there's a long stretch of the beach that is part of a natural park. That's beautiful. So we took a shortcut. I don't know if this is the right one, because the one that's on the route that was shown by someone else, those are actually someone else's farm, and there's no more trail. It's just pure soft vegetation that you don't know if it's a quicksand or something. So we're taking this, supposed to join the Camino up ahead. I don't know how many. I don't believe it's probably quarter of a mile, I guess. We'll see. I'm gonna cross the river there. Just reminds us of Del Norte. Pretty wild. So this is cool. You can hear the waves, the sound of the waves. The end of this trail. No, this only part. Check this out. Ha! Nice beach. Hello. Solitude brings silence into our hearts. Walking in nature and in God's creation helped us to be one with God, and we need to savor every moment of it. Walking the Camino allows us to seek the deeper meaning of solitude. When we are walking, we allow our own voices, our own minds, our own worries, and our own problems to be silent. Solitude seeks solidarity with God and our loved ones. Viana do Castelo is perhaps the most beautiful and charming old city along the coastal route of the Camino Portuguese, north of Porto. Like Porto, a river runs through it called Rio Lima. We wish we could have stayed a little bit longer to explore its many sights. Our accommodation in Fao had a free Lavazza capsule for coffee, so that was something different. The walk was very nice, going through a beach for about 5 miles. We then had a shortcut on a modern bridge and had the most amazing Brazilian pilgrims menu. We forgot to take a picture, that's how good it was. The rest of the walk is hard road walking. The bridge at the start of Viana do Castelo was a bit scary with a very narrow walkway. But then, accommodation in Viana is extremely luxurious in front of a castle tower. We ended the day with a Holy Mass, laundry, and not so budget-friendly pilgrim dinner. We woke up today with a bad news. Our boat reservation to Spain was cancelled. We brainstormed several options on how to get to Spain, but none of it was looking good. Internet seems to be helpless in this case. As per my research, there is no public transportation that would take us from Camina in Portugal to Aguarda in Spain today because of the bad weather. Not even a taxi. We can stay for one more night to see if the weather becomes better the next day, but all of our reservations in the next few days will be affected. Or we can skip one stage to recover the days, but skipping a stage is anathema in our Camino book. No way. We started praying in our hearts for something to happen. We also sent an email to our hostel in Camina, hoping that they would know what to do. But based on how slow they respond in the past, we may not know their answer until we get to Camina, pretty late in the afternoon.
What are you doing, huh? What are you doing? Oh, you want to go to Santiago with us? Okay, let's go. Let's go to Santiago. Come on. Come on. I'm going to call you Anika. Bye, Anika. Bye, Anika.
There you go. Alright. See you later, buddy. Good eating. There, look at this. Found a nice water. So check this out. This and the chapel behind it has a guest book that the earliest guest signed in 1751. Isn't that crazy? Whoa. True enough, only locals can help us in our current problem. When we met biker pilgrim Joaquim, who gave us the contact for a water taxi that would get us to Spain in 5 minutes. Anyhow, we saw the same phone number he gave us as a poster outside a bar where we had a break. So technically, when in doubt, just ask the locals. white sand. There's a castle! Today was a test on solitude being a spiritual experience. I ran several scenarios in my brain on how to get to Spain from Portugal, since the boat that was scheduled was cancelled. Being in solitude opens up a new window to our inmost being, but also towards others, and most importantly towards God. In solitude, it is clear that the ultimate source of our wants and needs is God. In silence, solitude can fill us with a greater sense of joy and a profound awareness no matter what, and ultimately that we are all one in the Lord. This is what solitude in the Camino brings us. Today, solitude seems to tell us that everything will be okay. That thing there, some sort of a fort, probably a military fort. I think that is Spain. Behind that is Spain, the big mountain. Hello. Today was an interesting day, to say the least. There was some anxiety all throughout the walk as the weather was getting worse. We also were in contact with our host in Caminha, and they said they typically arrange the river crossing, so we decided to go with a hostel for the next day's transportation. We missed eating in the town before Caminha, so we paid for it as the next villages almost everything was closed, as it is a holiday in Portugal. Only one small grocery was open, so we bought some food and ate beside a small but modern chapel. It began to rain when we got to the old town of Caminha, and Google routed us in the worst hill just before our accommodation. We woke up in Caminha with a lot of rain and wind. Had a pretty good breakfast at the hotel. Then Miguel, the boat taxi captain and a Captain Jack Sparrow wannabe, said there's no boat for today because of the weather, but he will drive us to Guarda in Spain for 10 euros each on his van. As soon as Miguel dropped us in Guarda, we started walking with a drizzle and made friends with Yumi, the Korean, Horst, the German, and Elena, the Dutch. Our destination of the day is actually Oya in an albergue. But from Guarda to Oya, it is only just around 7 miles. We're now wondering if staying in Oya is really a good idea. We're gonna have a break here. It's a chapel. Hopefully we can stop for water or bread or whatever. First stop in Spain. There's a Spanish flag. Oh, thank you, Lord. ¿Qué pasa? Everything okay? This monastery is not a monastery anymore, as it now belongs to a private entity. Although Holy Mass is still celebrated in the church, as it still serves as a local parish church. This magnificent place, though, is full of history. It was called royal because for hundreds of years, the royal family of Spain took care of this holy place, which was taken care of by Cistercian monks for hundreds of years. It was also part of the fight against the invading Turks at one time.
Ah, Portos de Galicia. That's the name. No trash. Look at that. Look at that. No trash whatsoever. Huh? Yeah. No trash whatsoever. No plastic. Nothing. There are birds. So clean. It's beautiful. It's clean.
Perhaps the most underrated part of the Camino is the locals. As always, the locals are always willing to lend a helping hand. This time, a lady allowed Eileen and Mabel to use the bathroom of her gorgeous house or home. Just before Oya, though, someone suggested to walk all the way to Baiona, 11 miles away. There's a big problem. We don't know where to stay in Baiona. This time, we're gonna wing it and hope that something sticks. So off we go.
We're on top of the mountain. Look at this. Close to Baiona. Flowers. We keep going up. Oh my god. We keep going up. Oh no. Well, alright. We're really high up in the mountains. We came from down there. We're going up there.
Bishop Hying once said after walking the Camino, "There's only one thing that is certain in the Camino, and that is suffering." Today is an example of this tenet. Suffering is the new tenet that we discovered. Suffering in the Camino is expected, yet it is very hard to explain to somebody who has not walked the Camino yet. We see and feel it every day while we're in the Camino, but we could not quite place it in a rational box. Suffering, whether physical or otherwise, is very personal.
On top of the mountain. No, save your battery. I have only 25%.
One more hour.
Welcome to Baiona. Look at that. Everyone is so happy. We're a mile away. Yay!
Otherwise known as the Virgin of the Rock, Baiona's most popular monument is made of granite, and in one of her hands is an actual viewpoint for boats that are coming in from the Atlantic Ocean.
There's the castle. Technically, that's over there. Castle in Baiona. That's pretty cool.
The Atlantic coast is dramatic with wild waves. Today, though, all restaurants are all closed except one because it's a holiday. We decided to walk all the way to Baiona instead of Oya, so we can cut tomorrow's walk to a manageable 15 miles rather than 22 miles. Just before Baiona, we climbed a very steep mountain, but rewarded us with a spectacular views of Oya coast. Later, it was raining heavily when we got to the albergue in Baiona. It was closed, or at least it seems to be closed. But very friendly and very helpful locals helped us by calling the Hospitalera Patri on the phone. After 5 minutes, Patrick came to check us in. She was very nice and very accommodating. The albergue was very clean and comfortable. God just proves to us that no matter how uncertain the situation is, He's there. Uncertainty principle magnified. We ended the day with a really sumptuous seafood dinner. We left Baiona with a short drizzle and a backdrop of the castle behind us. The walk was mostly sunny with occasional rain, but the views are amazing along the sea. Monterreal Castle, or sometimes called Parador de Baiona, has an old Franciscan convent inside. The castle itself is so huge that some say the passages and the rooms inside resembles a labyrinth.
Check that out, bro.
Perhaps, if not for Baiona, all of Europe will be speaking German right now. Okay, now that might be a stretch. But Baiona has perhaps one of the biggest claim to fame in all of Europe when it comes to America. Let me tell you a story. Christopher Columbus left Palos de Frontera in Huelva in Andalusia in August 3, 1492 to discover America. On March 1st, 1493, Christopher Columbus returned and Baiona became the first place to receive the news that a new land west of Europe has been discovered. The ship La Penta, which we see here in the harbor of Baiona, became the bearer of the discovery of America.
I gotta put this in my favorite city. Baiona. Ang huwag na nandun niya sa water.
Baiona, Portos de Galicia. Ito may word na Baiona. Yeah. Hola. Buenos días. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you. No, it's a catacomb of San Camino in the 3rd century. This is crazy. Yes, catacomb. No, it's not mummy. It's like a relic or something. Like there. I know, but there's no host. We can see it.
Physical suffering is the theme of the day, as it was hard road walking the entire time. Without food, the hills became mountains. As my wife would tell me many times, why complain? You have not been crucified yet. No one in this world understands our interior suffering. The only one who does was the one who once said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Our map showed us a different route from the Camino, so we took it. We encountered some old Spanish ladies on that route who were annoyed that we were walking the small roads not on the Camino route, just outside Vigo. Jules Verne once said that Captain Nemo's best kept secret is Vigo. The gold of Nautilus Severin apparently was from the Vigo River. Science fiction aside, people has always been wondering if the Vigo estuary actually has gold. After all, many ships who have traveled from the Americas back then, laden with gold, has been lost in these very waters. So today was a good day watching ordinary Spaniards going through their daily life as we walked mostly on the suburbs of two small-sized metropolises of Baiona and Vigo. We had a really good menú del día lunch just outside of Vigo. The cooking reminds us of our home country, Filipinas. We got to our accommodation in Vigo after walking entirely on the concrete jungle. Our host was a Spaniard who doesn't know a word of English and doesn't understand our meager Spanish. So it took him a long time to go through the check-in process to his place. He was very agitated that we don't speak Spanish properly when we clearly have Spanish blood. He was also fond of talking about Spanish politics when we know nothing about it. At the end of the day, we're so tired that we just bought some food from a supermarket to eat in our nondescript apartment. So we are in Vigo. Don't know exactly where we are, but looks like a very busy street. Look, mommy, mother and son doing the Camino. It's pretty cool. Chichoros. Walay stamp. It's one of the more beautiful falls that we saw along this way, this route. This waterfall, crazy. They're waiting for us. Gracias. So that's Elena, our friend from Netherlands, walking from Porto, actually. We saw her in Porto. It's okay. The irony of this stage was we did not suffer much. It was an easy walk through the mountains. Then I realized that the direct manifestation of suffering is actually finding God and faith in God. The suffering of Christ on the cross was redemptive and salvific. It was redemptive and salvific because it was full of love and not because it was full of pain. After all, suffering in the Camino gave us a glimpse of understanding that just like Jesus Christ's suffering on the cross, our suffering is truly an act of love. Before leaving our Vigo apartment, we made our own breakfast. First thing we encountered was an interesting set of stairs with artwork that made the stairs invisible from afar. Later, we walked a bit with some Portuguese pilgrims. Then we met Elena, the Dutch, who was with us in the van that took us to Guarda when we passed to Spain from Portugal. We passed by several waterfalls beside the Camino trail in the mountains, and as the day was short, we were able to have lunch at Casa Mucha in Redondela with Elena. The food was pretty good. The Redondela apartment was pretty much not used. Today is where the few times that both Central Route pilgrims and the Coastal Route pilgrims of Camino Portuguese walk on the same trail.
Oh yeah, of course. The water will always be on our left. Okay, kung nasa sa right, we're in the wrong direction. It's all trees here, beautiful, coming out of what's the name of the place last night? Redondela, going to Pontevedra. Yeah, pretty small.
The oldest reference for this Roman bridge was in the 10th century, but it might be older than that. This place is full of history as it was a witness to a power struggle between the Catholic Church and the Spanish royal family. But this bridge became really famous because this is where Napoleon's army in Galicia lost against the Spanish army. They eventually withdraw from Galicia because of this defeat. Today, vehicular traffic testifies to the genius of Roman construction and engineering.
So look at that. So it's a 2,000-year-old Roman bridge. Try to figure out the name, but we've been here before. We had the snacks there. Alright, let's go. Vamos. Here on your left. Watch where you're going.
Are you watching where you're going?
Yes.
Or doing your camera? Monte do Castro.
Oh no, Gabi. To the right. It's gonna be interesting. Let me do it. There, to the right. Okay. Okay. Just careful, be careful. One step. No. You're good here. Huh? It's here. This tunga kami. Tunga lang. Yeah. Yeah, left. There you go. You're good. Tukod lang.
In the right way, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Yay, we survived. That was fun. Hola, buenos días.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Recently, I saw a video that says a small town in Galicia is the most searched place in Spain, beating both Barcelona and Madrid. But what makes Pontevedra special? Pontevedra was originally named Pontos Vetiri by the Romans. It was a major cultural and economic player in Galicia until the time of Franco. Franco transferred his honor to Vigo. Yet what truly makes this beautiful city by the river special has to be the charming old town, the beautiful bridges, and its kind and generous people. It is also the capital of the province of the same name. Some say pilgrims of old coming to Pontevedra from the south, from both the coastal and central route of the Camino, is said to always stop on this pilgrim square before this Baroque and neoclassical chapel was even built. When they were asked why they stopped on this place, they always say that a beautiful lady told them so. The locals started to believe that the lady is actually the Virgin Mary, so they built a chapel dedicated to the Mother of God. Today, after 200 years, it is still a place to rest and pray for pilgrims from all over the world. The last tenet of the Camino that we discovered is generosity. It was both surprising and sad when we discovered it on this day because we failed at it. We encountered a pilgrim on the flooded trail up on the mountain who clearly was unprepared and was in distress, wet and tired. He didn't even have the right shoes. His backpack was too big and heavy, and he didn't even have hiking poles. Yet, we didn't even say a word. We just said a prayer or two. The very day that kindness and generosity should be in our hearts, we denied both him and Jesus. The architecture of this Cathedral of Pontevedra is influenced by the Portuguese Manueline style. It is unique though, because it has several chapels inside to serve different liturgical practices of the community. The day before leaving Redondela, we had a light breakfast. Then it started raining and had decent climbs on some mountains and hills. We then crossed Ponte Medieval di Ponte Sampaio, a Roman bridge. We then hit the most dangerous trail so far up on the mountains. The trail was full of water, as it is like trekking a river upstream with big rocks and stones. But we finally found food in the old town of Pontevedra, and we were blessed to have our accommodation in the heart of Pontevedra Old Town in front of Plaza de Peregrina.